Romans 12, verse 9 says, "Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good." So, dissimulation, it means to have judgment. To have judgment on something. Whether it be a rough day at work, a person, whatever it is. You know, I know Jimmy being in that field where he works in, and he's got to watch that weather, and he can see that weather coming from a week away, and he's like, man, Thursday's going to be rough. We got to have some chainsaws gassed up. We've got to have things available and ready for our disposable when we need it.
Right.
That's the good type. You're planning ahead. But even if you plan, even if we know for sure that we're going to have snow, all the weathermen in the world be telling us we're going to have snow. If the Lord don't want us to snow, we ain't going to have no snow. We can ask Rylan about this one because we thought we was going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
We just knew that we was going to wake up with snow on the ground.
Yep.
Our mind, because of somebody telling us that we was going to have snow, we done knew we was going to have snow. But then when we woke up, there was no snow.
It literally
It was
said
cold.
100%.
It was wet, but it wasn't cold snow wet. Dissimulation is something that the enemy uses against us on a regular basis. Automatically. We talk to Rylan about this all the time. First impressions go so far with someone. It's hard to live down a first impression.
True.
It's hard to overcome a negative impression if you leave a bad one first.
Yeah.
But even if you never even talked to the person, never even said anything to anybody, you've already got people coming at you in a negative way. Oh, he looks like he seems too hoity-toity. Oh, he looks like he's broke. Looks like he don't take care of himself. Looks like he knows everything. Looks like he don't know anything. People are going to tell you what they think about you. That's the way the world works, because the world is set up and designed because of what the enemy's done.
Right.
He's got people automatically preset to say, somebody walks through Walmart. Oh man, you see that person? It's a little crazy. Don't know if he just lost his wife or family or whatever happened.
Right.
Kim tells me all the time, because I had a bad habit of honking my horn at people if they was just like going putt slow or whatever after we got married. And she told me for years, you just don't ever know what somebody's going through. You just never know. Until that day that me and Jimmy and I don't know if anybody else was with us, but we had to go up there to the Fort Payne place 2 days after Josh. I mean, we still up in the air. My Jeep's tore up. I'm just needing a way of going.
Right.
You know, I'm sure I acted a little crazy in there. I'm sure that guy had a dissimulation about myself that wasn't necessarily who I really am. That's the way we have to approach this life that we live, that way. That our first encounter with somebody might be the only encounter they have. And what's that impression that we want to have?
Right.
Do we want to give off the God side of our life? The love side? Do we want to make sure that we make a positive impact on them the best way that we can while we have them there?
Amen.
Or do we just want to judge them? Do we want to make them feel less than because of something they may not even know that they even missing?
Right.
You never know what you're missing until it's gone.
Bless the Lord.
It says,
Or not letting them judge you.
that's right. It says, abhor that which is evil. Abhor means just absolutely do not like it.
Right.
Hate it. Don't like it. Don't join in with it. Don't be a part of that just because it's a convenient way of fitting in.
Right.
At work, at my job, we've got 80 plus people in a building at one time. All these different emotions and characteristics trying to work evenly together to have this a successful job that we're supposed to have. It's not always easy. It's not always easy for everybody to see eye to eye. Me and Jimmy's not built the same. Me and Valerie's not built the same. We're different people because God created us differently. But He wants us to use our strengths. And the only way that we can really use our strengths is if we look at ourselves and say, you know what? I need the Lord, number one.
Amen.
Anything that I do good is not because of me, it's because of Him.
Yeah.
That takes that boastful spirit right out. You know, the Lord has given me ability to be able to be as boastful as I wanted to be, if I wanted to be. He's moved me up at Mohawk. He's moved me up at American Apparel. He's put me in good places. He's helped me along the way.
Right.
But I'm always quick to say one thing. It ain't anything I've done. It's what God's done. He has promoted me. He has lifted me up because I've lifted Him up.
Right.
I always take the opportunity to pray with somebody. I always take the time to talk to them about the Lord, whether I'm busy or not. Because at the end of the day, all we want is to be heard.
Yeah.
Is to have that feeling if somebody's got your back. Not saying that God don't. But as Christians, as a Christian, we're all part of a body. And if we felt like our hand wasn't living up to what it's supposed to do, we'd say, hey, hand, let's get it together.
Yeah.
We've got to work together as one body to be able to make an impact in this world. It goes back to what that song you was singing earlier, baby. We don't have to know everything. We can be tossed to and fro on the water. We don't know what's happening. We don't know exactly the reason why. But when He comes to us walking, we've got to be able to step out.
Yeah.
We have to step out on faith. We've got to do the things that we've got to do for Him. It says, be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. Preferring one another. Put them above yourself.
Yep.
Y'all, this is something I try to teach guys at work. I try to teach Rylan. I try to teach Kim best I can. But, you know, she's already grown, so I can't really do everything. But we can put each other above ourselves. So just take a moment to think about that. If I say, you know what, Jimmy, I want to do more for you than you can do for me.
Right.
And Jimmy say, you know what, Jonathan, I want to do more for you than you can do for me.
Right.
Is that going to hurt or help? It's going to help.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm always saying, man, Jimmy didn't do this, so I'm not going to do it. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to end up being where we're at each other. We're trying to see who can get one over on each other.
Right.
But the difference of that is if I'm looking out for Jimmy and he's looking out for me, then I've got the Lord and I got Jimmy on my side. Imagine if we had the Lord and 3 Jimmys. A 3 Jimmy and 2 Valors. You know what I'm saying? We can have strength in numbers. That's what we're here for. The Lord don't want me, you, or us to fight this battle alone. He wants us to lean on each other. He wants to depend on each other. It says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. Woo! Yeah. Patient in tribulation. Patience in tribulation is something that I don't always have the best gift of having. But I've seen it. I've seen patience take over situations such as the funeral home that night. I've seen patience in myself, even when I felt like there's no reason why I should have patience right now. Patience is something that you have to craft. It's like whittling a piece of wood. If you just take a knife and you just start hacking at a piece of wood and you just chopping, and all these little pieces of bark is falling off, that used to be a part of this branch. But you're doing it on purpose. You're taking away certain parts of the branch to form something even better.
Right.
You're turning it into a masterpiece, and that's what God is doing to us. He's taking away pieces of our bark, pieces of our branch, so He can graft into us. So He can show us. This is where we need to be strong at. Yeah, have y'all ever seen those videos where they graft branches into trees? Mm-hmm. All they do is split a little piece, make sure they put the other piece right there with it, surround wrap, boom. Mm-hmm. They've done grafted another tree with another tree.
Yep.
Now, if it's that easy to graft a real tree in this life to another tree that ain't got nothing to do with either one of them, why is it so hard for us to graft with each other?
Right.
Why is it so hard for us as Christians, not us in the world? That's a whole nother subject there. Us as Christians, why is it so hard for us to engraft with each other? You walk in and they might have their own opinions. Like I was talking a minute ago. They may have their predisposition about who you are. But even though you are an oak tree, and this is a red maple tree, or what if that, is that even the word, a tree, a red maple? Is that real?
Red maple.
Either way.
Yeah.
You graft them things together, it might not look exactly right. It might not be what everybody thinks it should look like, but it's working.
Yeah.
Y'all, when I was 16 years old and I was coming around trying to date Kim, y'all had a predisposition to myself, right? He's a young man. I know young men, I know what they think about. And Lord knows what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But he knew what he was doing.
He sure
Yeah.
did.
He put me in a position to be able to be successful in my life way before the foundations of the world. But now, if I'd have got scared and run away, if I hadn't done what the Lord wanted me to do,
Right.
then my life would be different.
Yep.
It says that continuing instant in prayer. Continuing instant in prayer. Myself, I know who I am. I know at one point in my life I felt like it had to be a certain time for me to pray. I felt like I had to either be going to bed or waking up, fixing to eat something. I had to do it in a formal setting. I had to make sure that I had my hands folded, that I was on my knees beside the bed. I was doing everything right. I thought that was how I was supposed to pray. But when you're instant in prayer, and when you're having, you have to have that prayer right then. You can't wait till this stuff's hit the fan at 2 o'clock, and I don't get home and I go to bed about 7:30. So that's a long time to wait.
Right.
You've got to know that God's right there waiting on you,
Yeah.
right then,
Right.
not later. He don't need later. He's got all the time. You the one that needs later. If he's dealing with you right then, he's dealing with you right then.
Right.
Back when I got saved, he didn't ask me, is it okay if I come to you while you're laying on the couch? Or do you want to be at church where it's more convenient? He's going to put you in inconvenient situations because he wants to make you better than what you are.
Right.
The Marines and the military do one thing, and I'm not saying that the Lord is doing this to us, but he does break us down to show how much we really need him. I've told this story a bunch of times, but since Kim is recording me right now, I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I preached for a long time about healing and receiving. But it wasn't until I had to live that belief that I realized that you can speak all the words in the dictionary. You can know every definition. You can do everything right. But if you're not instant in prayer and you don't believe what you're saying, and you let the enemy in on you, he will affect the way you believe.
Yeah.
I've been there. It says, rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men a low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as life in you, live peaceably with all men. That whole little section right there is saying ifs. There's a lot of ifs in that little area. There's a lot of places there where he's like, if you can live peacefully with all men, do so. But it goes back to what we was just talking about. If we feel like the enemy is using someone against us, If we feel like the enemy is using somebody to dictate how we feel about the Lord, then we give that to the Lord. We let Him fight those battles. Because if we try to put our flesh in it, it's always going to be fleshly one.
Yeah.
And if we use the flesh, that means the enemy can use it. But if we let the Lord fight those battles for us, they will always be finished on time and in the right manner they're supposed to be in. Lastly, it says, dearly beloved, this is where it's going to be tough for us. It says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place in the wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. I mean, the Lord lays it out exactly how we can be successful Christians.
Right.
If you always put each other above yourself, then you'll never have a problem.
Right.
But unfortunately, we don't always do that. If we always killed the flesh daily and we didn't get in our own way, this world would be a different place.
Yeah.
It's not about how many times we fail. It's about how many times He's picked us up. Every time that we fall, every time that we don't refuse to lay there and quit, and we get back on our feet again, that's a testimony to the Lord.
Yeah.
He's not done with you yet. He's not done with us, and He's not done with anybody that's watching this video. He is strong because
Right.
that's who He is.
Yeah.
We're not strong because that's who we are. This flesh is weak. This flesh doesn't want the things that we want of the Spirit.
Bless you.
But what this flesh does do is it gives us the opportunity to live in a world where we can make a difference for the Lord. Not for ourselves, but for the Lord.
Amen.
And it says right here, it says, vengeance is His. No matter how mad that we are about the Josh situation, no matter how mad we are at this world and what it's done and what we've seen happen, none of it falls on our shoulders.
Right.
You know, I talk to guys at work all the time about don't leave people bad. You don't want to be the one that is the reason for the issues. You want to be the reason for the successful turnaround.
Right.
If we want to see this world change, we've got to change. We've got to take inventory of ourselves, and we've got to see what we've done in the past that didn't work. Move on from that. Don't let the enemy whoop you anymore, but continue to grow in the Lord.
Amen.
God can strengthen us. He has strengthened me.
Yeah.
He strengthened everybody in this room. It doesn't take a big, strong billionaire to do things for the Lord. It takes the humble. It takes somebody that's humbled themselves to the point that they know that I'm nothing without Him. When you get to that point, you've really won. When you've figured it out that you do not control what you think you can control, you've won.
Yeah.
Because that's when you'll hit that knees instantly. That's what the Lord does. I won't never forget the one time that I had no choice. I was dealing with anxiety and depression. I was tripping out over different crazy stuff, just walking around thinking about death and dying all the time. Just couldn't get it off my mind. And it wasn't until one day I was riding down the road, and these fearful thoughts was hitting me, and they were coming at me left and right. And that's when I said, you know what? I don't have time to wait till 5 o'clock. I don't have time to wait to get with Jimmy so he can pray for me, or Valerie to pray for me. I gotta have this talk right now.
Right.
So I started talking to the Lord. And it wasn't the type of talk where you say, Lord, this is Jonathan, your humble servant. This is, hey God, it's me.
Yeah.
It's time for a conversation. Because guess what? The Lord loves us. He wants us to have a relationship with Him.
Amen.
He wants us to talk to Him.
Yeah.
He wants us to be with Him. He wants us to put Him where He's supposed to be at, in the front.
Right.
Not beside us, not behind us, but let Him lead, guide, and direct us. And we will have a better life. Because even through death, we know there's a better outcome than what we see in this world. Because it's not about living or dying. It's about taking what the Lord's given us and sharing it with the world that we live in. That's what we're here for.
Amen.
If it was just about y'all being saved, well, y'all already been gone.
Yeah.
If it's just about us being saved, we'd already be gone.
That's true.
So what is it about? It's not about us. It's about the world. But the only way that we can affect the world is if we strengthen ourselves with each other.